Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into something really fascinating. How is the very design of our cities, the streets, the buildings, the parks, actually shaping our minds, our happiness, and even how we connect with each other?
I bet a lot of you can relate to this feeling, right? It's this strange paradox of being surrounded by millions of people, but still feeling totally disconnected, maybe even a little overwhelmed. So is this just a part of modern life, or is there something else going on?
Well, this paradox is exactly what a whole field of study looks into. It tries to get beyond just the concrete and steel to understand the invisible ways our environment is affecting our well-being.
Okay, so this brings us to a field called environmental psychology. It's basically the science of how our surroundings mess with our heads. The big idea here is that our cities aren't just, passive backdrops for our lives. The research is showing they can actually nudge our behaviors and feelings, everything from encouraging us to exercise to, as we're about to see, really impacting our mental health.
So, what's a key ingredient that our modern cities might be missing? Well, it boils down to this really important concept called social capital. So this term, it was really brought into the mainstream by the political scientist Robert Putnam. Think of social capital as the value we get from our social networks. It's the trust, the I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine vibe, that feeling of community. And here's his big, crucial argument. Since the 1950s, this vital resource has been in a serious nosedive.
And this image here, it lays it out perfectly. Notice how it all flows from the bottom up. It all starts at the base with simple one-on-one interactions between people, and as you can see from the arrows, those relationships build into small groups, which then build into local participation, and ultimately, that forms the very foundation for our trust in big institutions way up at the top.
And look, this isn't just some vague feel-good concept. The benefits are real. They're tangible. Study after study shows that communities with more social capital, the kind of stuff you see right here, are literally healthier, they're wealthier, and they bounce back from tough times much better. It's like the invisible glue that holds a society together.
Okay, so if our social connections are getting weaker, what does the actual physical design of our cities have to do with it? Let's look at the hard data, starting with one of the most stressful parts of city life for so many people.
Let's kick things off with something I'm sure a lot of you know all too well, the daily commute. Just listen to this quote. It really highlights the hidden price we pay for all that time spent in traffic. So, to dig into this, a study in Seattle decided to measure the link between commute time, how people get around, and their happiness. And what they found was, wow, pretty clear. This chart shows a really strong negative link. You see that line going down? As the commute time along the bottom gets longer, the life satisfaction reported on the side, it drops. The longer the commute, the unhappier people said they were. Simple as that.
And get this, it's not just how long you commute, it's how you do it. The same study broke it all down. And look at the bikers, a 9 out of 10 for satisfaction on average. That is huge. And who's at the bottom? The drivers. It really seems like the journey itself has a massive psychological impact.
But, this goes way deeper than just being happy or unhappy about your commute. Some research is suggesting that our urban environment might actually be shaping who we are, our core personalities. A really interesting study out of Malaysia compared the psychological profiles of people living in cities versus rural areas to see what they could find.
And the findings, they were pretty shocking, actually. Urban folks were 6 times more likely to show traits of neuroticism. We're talking anxiety, depression, that kind of thing. And maybe the most startling part, they were the only group where people showed traits of psychoticism. The data is really suggesting a powerful link between city living and mental health challenges, possibly because of things like constant overstimulation and just not enough access to quiet, natural spaces to recharge.
Okay, so that sounds a bit grim, right? But here's the good news. The same science that points out the problems also gives us a roadmap for a solution. So, how can we actually start designing cities that make us happier and healthier?
Well, urban planners have basically boiled it down to 3 key strategies. First up, reserving more open, green space. Second, building what are called mixed-use neighborhoods. And third, and this is so important, we have to defend and expand our shared social resources. Let's start with the green stuff.
I love how the author Charles Montgomery, who's done a lot of work in this area, puts it. He says, nature in cities isn't just a nice-to-have. It's a powerful tool for making us happier, healthier, and, this is the key part, for getting us more strongly connected with our community.
The second idea, building mixed-use neighborhoods, is where you get these amazing concepts like the 15-minute city. I mean, just imagine. You could walk out your door, drop the kids at school, grab a coffee, and be at your office, all within a 15-minute walk or bike ride. No car needed. The whole point is to slash those soul-crushing commutes and create more chances to just bump into your neighbors.
And that brings us to the third big idea, protecting our shared public spaces. I'm talking about bike lanes, public squares, those little community parks. These aren't just amenities. They are vital social assets. They are the actual physical places where that social capital we talked about gets built.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? It's that designing a city isn't just about traffic flow or building codes. It's a conscious choice about the kind of psychological environment we want to create for ourselves and for the people who come after us.
So I want to leave you with a question to think about. What's one thing in your own neighborhood, maybe a park, a great local coffee shop, a street that's just perfect for walking? What's the place that brings you a little bit of happiness or makes you feel connected? Because really, noticing those places is the first step toward fighting for them and building happier cities for everyone.